Good evening, I'm Liz Barnes, and tonight I'm joined by the frontman of the legendary heavy metal band Megadeth. The one and only Dave Mustaine is my guest on My Planet Rocks, chatting about the 40-year anniversary of the band, headlining this year's Bloodstock Festival, and reconciling a long-time feud with Metallica.
You've got two of the biggest bands in metal that started from the same place, had their growing pains, and now I wish them the best. And it's all about just coming from a place of happiness.
But first, from their 1992 album Countdown to Extinction, let's start the show with Megadeth, Symphony of Destruction. Dave Mustaine, welcome to My Planet Rocks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it okay for us to kind of acknowledge the fact that it's 40 years of Megadeth? How has it been 40 years?
I think just trying to be the best that you can be. And we've had adversity against us since the beginning because of Metallica. The funny thing about it is that we're friends now. But, what happened. And, it's a public belief that there's some kind of beef between us, and there really isn't. As much as back in the day we talked about it from a negative point of view, I prefer to talk about it from a positive place now, a place of forgiveness and of healing. Those guys went through a lot of stuff themselves. I did too. It's very well documented about all of this and getting professional help. So that's something I think is really wonderful. You've got two of the biggest bands in metal that started from the same place, had their growing pains, came to the realization that it was just a bunch of hard feelings and a bunch of, hurt people. And now I wish them the very, very best. And now it's all about just coming from a place of happiness. And I think if you have that kind of attitude, you can't help but succeed.
I've got a fantastic list of all your tracks that you've chosen to play over the next hour, Dave. We were chatting just before we came on air, and you said, why not go for Eric Johnson and Cliffs of Dover first? Why this
one? This is a guitar player that I really admired a lot. In fact, I had him introduced to me by one of our previous guitar players, and I had the chance to meet Eric to do a photo shoot with him. And then we got together one last time recently for the Jimi Hendrix tribute, and Eric was there, he and Joe Satriani, and he's a great guitar player. I don't know if you have ever looked into that cat, but he's a really good guitar player.
Eric Johnson and Cliffs of Dover, the first track on My Planet Rocks, chosen by my guest tonight is Dave Mustaine. Dave, I feel like there's so much we could squish into the next hour, so we probably can't squish it all in. But I do have to mention the last Megadeth album, The Sick, The Dying and The Dead. It went down rather well. Fans just seem to embrace it again. I read so many good reviews. One I loved online, a really short one. It just said, "You can't kill old glory." How do you feel about it now that it's out there?
I feel like we've just scratched the surface with bringing the music to the masses. We've tried to do our touring really smart, and we try not to burn out audiences. So when we do come and play, we mix our set list up a little bit. Not a lot, because, you have 200 songs. It's hard to pick, the right set list every night. We have the staples that we need to play, but we also have the allotment of what we can mix up. And I think that keeps it fresh and fun. The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead was a great record for us because, I think the true essence of Megadeth music was allowed to breathe life into the songs, because the songs were originally written with a jazzy drummer was Gar. And so, yeah.
Well, I think if anyone was going to explain what Megadeth is supposed to sound like, then you have the last word, and I'm gonna describe it as that from now on. Before we chat any further, let's take another track. You've chosen the Tubes and White Punks on Dope, which another huge classic. But can you remember first hearing it?
Oh boy, I can't put a finger on the date or anything, but I can remember we were cruising around Los Angeles at the time, and I had liked the Tubes a lot, and some of the records they did got a little bit weird, but this song had one of the most powerful riffs in it, and it just seemed to me kind of like they were like this down and dirty street cops from New York or San Francisco, and da 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 da, just kind of this riff that just sucked you in.
That's the Tubes and White Punks on Dope, as chosen by Dave Mustaine, my guest on My Planet Rocks tonight. On the way, Dave talks about his relationship with Black Sabbath.
We got invited to do this Nativity in Black tribute, and we had this great idea to record it live in Denver. We just spur of the moment told the fans, okay, we're going to do something right now. We wanted to surprise you. And the fans just thought that was the neatest thing ever.
That's on the way shortly on Planet Rock. Do you still get the same kick out of playing live that you always did?
Yeah, more so now because we're playing songs that we weren't playing before because, when I had my neck put back together after I had the surgery, I had that plate put in here, changed my voice forever. So a lot of the songs that we were playing before, we had to stop because the plate touching my vocal box made it very difficult, if not impossible, and most times for me to hit certain high notes. So we're adding songs back in now that we haven't played for a long time. Most of them are really high pitched, and even if I couldn't sing them before, and I just tried to sing them, at least now I'm trying to sing them better.
Let's take another of your track choices. And this might be the one that I'm kind of most excited about because people always put this song down and this album down. And I think even the band do as well because it doesn't have good memories for them. But it's Black Sabbath and Never Say Die, one of my favourite songs in the world. Why is it on your list?
Because it's a great song. And I think that, it may be that record is just painful for the band to remember. I think there was more than one time where another person sang on that record besides Ozzy, if I remember right. I think Swingin' the Chains might have been a song that the drummer might have sang. I don't know. But Never Say Die for me was a great song. I did it in the band Panic. I was in before I got into Metallica. And once Megadeth was formed, we become friends with Ozzy and the guys in Sabbath. And we got invited to do this Nativity in Black tribute. And like I was saying, we were one of the only bands that were asked to do two versions. So we did Paranoid on the first one and Never Say Die on the second one. And we had this great idea to record it live in Denver. And so our version, we just spur of the moment told the fans, okay, we're going to do something right now. We wanted to surprise you. We're recording this right now live. And the fans just thought that was the neatest thing ever.
Never Say Die, chosen by tonight's guest on My Planet Rocks. It is Dave Mustaine. I feel like a perfect track to follow that is your next choice. It's Iron Butterflies, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. First hearing this, I would guess was a bit of a revelation because it doesn't sound like anything else.
The reason that I picked this is because of its significance in the world, as far as like heavy metal tracks are concerned. People say that Timothy Leary came up with the term heavy metal, and that I think it was Steppenwolf was the first band to say heavy metal in a song.
Heavy metal thunder, racing with the wind, born to be wild.
It's really cool to be able to look back at the beginning of time and who the bands were, like Blue Cheer. The guys from Pink Floyd were saying we used to be called Megadeth before we were called Pink Floyd, which is kind of cool, I guess. So it's a small business, and we all stick together, and we all see the same people on the way up that we do on the way down.
Another track choice of Dave Mustaine, who's my guest on My Planet Rocks tonight. You have a summer of festival appearances ahead of you with Megadeth, I think in the States, but also in Europe. And you're headlining Sunday night at Bloodstock here in Derbyshire at Catton Park in August. Do you still get is there a particular kind of thrill about playing to that sort of festival crowd?
Of course. Different audiences are just that. They're different, different countries, different mentality, different laws, different structures, different things that they eat and drink, and the way that they interact with one another. Bloodstock will be great because it'll be a lot of our own kind,
We got, a couple more tracks to do, so we're nearly there, Dave, but tell us why the Pistols.
I loved the Sex Pistols. I thought Sid Vicious was, whether he was a punker or not, he was definitely rock star material. And there's so many people that have emulated him. I don't know that Elvis knew who Sid Vicious was at the end of his life. I don't know if he was alive when Sid was playing, but there was a very uncanny thing that they both did with their mouths. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I thought Sid Vicious was a rock star, like I said. And, some of the Sex Pistols songs, there were several that were my go-to songs whenever we were out partying.
That was the Sex Pistols, as chosen by my guest Dave Mustaine on My Planet Rocks. You just heard Problems. It is almost time to go. Dave, it's been wonderful to listen to some of your song choices over the last hour and just chat in general. I know a lot of people are really excited to see you at Bloodstock in August. You've got a lot of gigs to do before then. Thousands of people really looking forward to seeing you back in the UK. One last track choice from you. I've saved Aerosmith till last and Rats in the Cellar. Why Aerosmith? Why this one?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Some people know about the little problem that we had with Aerosmith. My affinity for the band came when I was younger. We would walk to rehearsal, and there was some graffiti on the wall in this alley that we used to walk down, and it was the Get Your Wings logo. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I got that record, and I thought, wow, this is a great record. And then when Rocks came out, I knew these guys were the band that I wanted to listen to because they just seemed so raunchy, sick as a dog, rats in a cellar, And so that's how I like to think of them. I don't like to think about them any other way other than, being the band that I dug growing up. I'll tell you, Rats in the Cellar to me has a great riff, and I dug the guitar playing in there. The song's a badass song.
Aerosmith and Rats in the Cellar, the final choice of my guest tonight, Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, who you can see headline this year's Bloodstock Festival from the 10th to the 13th of August at Catton Park in Derbyshire, and tickets are available now.